How many Stanley Cups would the hottest NHL players win in the video game NHL 24 if they came together, formed one big giant unit of the hottest, beautiful, most handsome players in the league today? How many Stanley Cups could they win in 5 years? Would they go 5 for 5, 4 for 5, 1 for 5? We are going to be finding that out here in today's video as I have combined the Loveland All-Stars. They are back for another season. Now, we did this in 24, actually 23, and I don't actually remember what the results looked like, but hopefully we can go 5 for 5, winning 5 straight Stanley Cups. This team is good enough to do it, so let's go ahead, take a look at the roster. Now, as you guys can imagine, every single player on this team is hot as hell, absolutely beautiful. They all have one thing in common. Leon Draisaitl, stud. Jack Hughes, stud. Mitch Marner, stud. Tage Thompson, also a stud. All of these players I would absolutely love to smooch. That definitely came out a little bit wrong. So our first line will have Marner, Hughes, and Draisaitl. Tkachuk is there with Tage Thompson and Patrick Kane, Matthew Barzal, Sidney Crosby, and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. The Nug Boy. Also, we have Lindholm, Matt Rempe, who girls drool over. I also raised him to an 80 overall just so he can make the team. And Tom Wilson, who's a very good-looking guy himself. Now, defensively, we have Quinn Hughes and Roman Josi. Roman Josi, don't even get me started, dude. Your cheeks are about to get clapped here very soon. Pause. No Diddy. Noah Hanifin is very good looking, as well as Josh Morrissey, Keandre Miller, and Vince Dunn. And in goal, we are rocking with Jake Ottinger as our starter and Jeremy Swayman, who's a very good looking guy himself, as our backup, who's an 87 overall. This team is very loaded. They are also very stacked. There's no reason we should not win multiple Stanley Cups. That's why I titled the video, How Many Stanley Cups We Can Win, not if we could win a Stanley Cup, because to be honest, this team should go on and win it all almost every single season. Now, before we go ahead and simulate, if you guys do enjoy videos just like this, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Also, turn on notifications so you get notified when I go live or when I post a video. And now it is time to head into the simulation. Now, at the end of the first season, we are going to go ahead and be the best team in the Central Division. 53, 23, and 6, 112 points. And for the entire NHL, Loveland All-Stars were the best team in the league, followed by Florida, who won 50 games. Toronto was up there, Winnipeg, and Carolina. But none were better than the Loveland All-Stars, 3.5 goals per game. Jack Hughes is going to lead our team in scoring, 31 goals and 89 points, followed by Draisaitl, who had 79. Mitch Marner had 72. Tkachuk was up there with 64. Crosby only had 59, though he might not have been playing like power play minutes and stuff like that. Barzal had 57, also the only guy who was a minus on here. Matthew Barzal needs to play a much more defensive style of hockey with the All-Stars. And in goal, Jake Ottinger, 46, 20, and 5, 7 shutouts, and a 910 save percentage. Austin Matthews will end up leading the entire NHL in goals with 66 and points with 107, followed by Mitch Marner, who had 98. Nylander had 96. McDavid was up there with 93. Pasternak had a good season, as well as Robertson. And Shorzy somehow sneaking into the simulation, 58 goals and 91 points as a rookie on the Calgary Flames. Now, we know the Be a Pro file got deleted, so RIP Shorzy in the comments. There will be no more Be a Pros with him for 24. We will have to wait until NHL 25. Sadly, EA Sports literally deleted my save file. There is absolutely nothing I can do about it. Rasmus Dahlin's going to lead all defensemen in scoring with 89 points, followed by Makar, who had 82, Carlson 81, and Quinn Hughes 77. For goalies, RJ Ottinger is going to lead in wins with 46, and for shutouts, it will go to Freddie Anderson, who had 9. He honestly might end up taking home the Vezina. 9 shutouts is absolutely crazy with a 918 save percentage. And in the first round of the playoffs, we are up against the Chicago Blackhawks. This is what the playoff tree looks like in year number 1. Thankfully, we did destroy the Blackhawks in 5 games, and now we face the Dallas Stars in the second round, who we also beat in 5 games, and now we take on the juggernaut that is the Colorado Avalanche in the conference finals. And we have made it all the way in season number 1 up against the Toronto Maple Leafs in the Stanley Cup finals. Don't ask me how they made it here. I have no idea. But regardless of that, let's see if the Loveland All-Stars can go ahead in season number 1 and take home the Stanley Cup. And the Loveland All-Stars are going to get it done in the very first season as they beat the Toronto Maple Leafs in Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals. Some things never change for Toronto, and Mitch Marner will beat his former team in the Maple Leafs as the hottest NHL players go on in their very first season and predictably win the Stanley Cup. I mean, this roster is built very well. A lot of these players are like all-star elite level players, as Matthew Tkachuk will take home the Conn Smythe. He had 12 goals and 19 points in the postseason, a very good postseason run for one of the better looking players in the entire league, I'd say. I wouldn't say he's like top 5, but he is most definitely up there. And there it is, the Stanley Cup about to be raised in Loveland, wherever on earth that is. I didn't even know that was a legit place, but it's in the game, so I will go with it. As here comes our captain, Big German Leon, coming to lift the Stanley Cup for the first time in his career, as the hottest NHL players have got the job done in season number 1. 1 down, 4 more to go 5 straight with the hottest players in the league. Now, in the playoffs, I was wrong. Matthew Tkachuk actually had 12 goals and 31 points, not 19. That was the amount of assists he had. Tage Thompson at 28, also 17 goddamn goals. Patrick Kane 26. Jack Hughes was up there, as well as Draisaitl, who is one of the best playoff performers in NHL history. Matthews is going to end up taking home the Ted Lindsay, Maurice Richard, Art Ross, and Hart Trophy. Rasmus Dahlin will take home the Norris. The Calder will go to Shorzy. The Conn Smythe, obviously, to Tkachuk. Connor Hellebuyck's going to win the Vezina, and the Selke will go to Barkov. As we now head into the second season, hopefully going 2 for 2. My plan is to win every single Stanley Cup in this video out of 5, as if we do not, that would be a disappointment with the current roster that we do have. You know, at the end of year number 2, we are going to finish with an even better record, going 58, 17, and 7, 123 points. By far the best team in the entire league, followed by the Dallas Stars, who won 51 games. Florida was up there, Tampa Bay, and Calgary. Obviously, they do have like a 90 overall. Shorzy, who was meant to be in my GM mode, not in this video, but who cares? Shorzy's a legend, and he literally no longer exists in this game. Jack Hughes, again, is going to lead our team in scoring, 87 points. He also had 37 goals, followed by Matthew Tkachuk, who had 78. Leon Draisaitl had 77. Mitch Marner, 74. Quinn Hughes was up there with 74. Patrick Kane had a good season, as well as Tage Thompson. And for Ottinger, 53, 16, 7, and 7 shutouts with a 913 save percentage. Again, Matthews is going to dominate, leading in goals with 62 and points with 118. He really simulates insanely well in this game. Followed by Kucherov, who had 107. William Nylander had 99. Mitch Marner, 96. Draisaitl was up there with 93, as well as Robo. And on the goal side, Shorzy would come in second place with 52, followed by Connor Bedard, who had 45. Draisaitl had 44. DeBrincat was up there, as well as Nikita Kucherov. For defensemen, I don't think we had anybody up there. Actually, I was wrong. Quinn Hughes led everybody in scoring with 74 points. And in goal, Jake Ottinger is going to have the most wins at 53. And for the most shutouts, it will go to Andrei Vasilevsky, Sergei Bobrovsky, and Igor Shesterkin. And in year number 2, we are going to be going up against the Vancouver Canucks in the first round. This is our playoff bracket. Can we go back to the finals, win another Stanley Cup? Now, surprisingly, we are going to lose a Game 7 to the Colorado Avalanche in the conference finals, as they go on and win the Stanley Cup, beating Florida in 7 games. I mean, we dominated the first 2 rounds, only losing 1 game to Vancouver, sweeping the Stars, but Colorado is an absolute juggernaut in this game. More of a juggernaut in 23, honestly, but they're still very good. In the playoffs, no surprise that Leon Draisaitl is our leading scorer, 16 points, followed by Tage Thompson, who also had 16. Matthew Tkachuk was up there. Patrick Kane had 15. Jack Hughes was pretty good, as well as Mitchell Marner, which is very surprising for him if we take a look at his playoffs numbers. 3 goals and 14 points in 11 games last year, so actually he was okay, but in the second round, he absolutely no-showed. 8 points in 7 games in 22, where they lost in 21 in 7 games. He only had no goals and 4 points. No goals again for 2 playoff runs in a row. That's absolutely wild. He had 4 points in 2019, 9 in 2018, so he was actually pretty decent. Only 2 goals again, though. Nikita Kucherov is going to win the Ted Lindsay and Hart Trophy, while the Art Ross will go to Matthews, as well as the Maurice Richard. The Norris to Quinn Hughes of the Loveland All-Stars. Cale Makar is going to take home the Norris, Vasi, the Vezina, and the Selke again is going to go to Alexander Barkov. Now, predictably, yet again, we are going to be the best team in the NHL, winning even more games, 59, almost a 60-win season, 16 losses, 7 in overtime, 125 points. Another President's Trophy to our hardware case, followed by the Tampa Bay Lightning. Chicago was very good. Winnipeg was up there, as well as the Vancouver Canucks. Now, at the bottom, we have the teams that are predictably to be at the bottom: San Jose, Anaheim, Detroit, and Washington. Jack Hughes is going to have a monster season, 106 points, also 40 goals, followed by Draisaitl, who had 101, damn near 50-goal season himself. Mitch Marner had 82, Tkachuk 80, Quinn Hughes had 76, Tage Thompson 69, Patrick Kane was pretty good, as well as Roman the Butte Yossi. Jake Ottinger 43, 15, and 7, 6 shutouts, and very good numbers all the way. And Jeremy Swayman most likely is going to be the backup. He had a .941 save percentage in 20 games. He was absolutely lights out. Although he didn't play a lot of games, he was still very good in the games that he did play. Nikita Kucherov's going to lead the NHL in scoring with 108 points, followed by Jack Hughes, who had 106, Draisaitl 101, Matthews was up there. At least he didn't win the Art Ross this year. Pasta had the same amount, 98. Stammer was up there with 97. If we take a look at goals, Austin will lead with 58, followed by Shorzy, who had 49. Draisaitl also 49. Pasta was up there. Kucherov, Kaprizov, Cole Caulfield had a 40-goal season. He was also a -17. Now for defensemen, Erik Karlsson and Charlie McAvoy are going to tie at 76 points apiece. Actually, Quinn Hughes was in there also. So the Loveland All-Stars, Quinn Hughes has been doing very good. 9 goals, 67 apples. Vasi and Ottinger are going to tie for wins with 43. Bobrovsky was up there, as well as Hellebuyck. And for shutouts, it's going to go to Igor Shesterkin, who had 8 on the season. 2 more than our own Jakey boy. You got to step up your game, I guess, a little bit. You do have the most stacked roster in front of you out of any goaltender in the entire NHL, so there's no excuses. And now in the first round, we are going to be facing the Minnesota Wild, hopefully going back to the finals, as we did not get that done last season. So the best we can do now is 4 for 5 in the video. And yet again, another disappointing playoff run for the Loveland All-Stars, getting swept by the Winnipeg Jets in round number 2, the same Winnipeg that Colorado absolutely dog-walked in the first round in real life, as they are going to make it to the finals, but ultimately end up losing to the Rangers in Game 7, as New York is going to take home the Stanley Cup. Matthew Tkachuk is going to lead our team in scoring, 5 goals, 10 points. Marner also had 10. If Mitch Marner is your leading point getter in the playoffs, you're most likely not going far. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins had 9. Draisaitl only 9 in 11 games. Thompson was bad. And Jack Hughes was absolutely invisible. A literal no-show, as he only had 1 goal and 6 points in 11 games. He's been leading our team in scoring basically every single season. If we take a look at Jake Ottinger, 4, 5, and 2, a .904 save percentage, and almost 3 goals against the game. Jack Hughes is going to take home the Ted Lindsay and Hart Trophy, the Art Ross to Kucherov, Maurice Richard to Matthews, and the Norris will go to Quinn Hughes. So the Hughes brothers are dominating this video. Adam Fox is going to win the Conn Smythe, Jake Ottinger the Vezina, and the Selke will go to Barkov for the 3rd season in a row. Now at the end of season number 4, we are going to end up finishing 2nd in the NHL, going 53, 27, and 2, 108 points. The Rangers were technically better than us, 1 more point, but we all know that the regular season does not matter, as we were the best team the last 2 years, and we both lost in, what was it, the 2nd and 3rd round. Calgary was very good, winning 50 games, followed by Florida. Carolina was up there, as well as the Vancouver Canucks. Jack Hughes is going to have a comeback season, 44 goals, 94 points. I mean, I shouldn't say a comeback here, considering he was better last season than the regular season. Leon Draisaitl had 93, Marner also 93, Roman Yossi was up there, Matthew Tkachuk had a pretty good season, Tage Thompson had 40 goals, Matthew Barzal was pretty okay as well. And if we take a look at Otter, 37, 22, and 1, 4 shutouts, and only a .907 save percentage, which is pretty low to his standards at least. I was hoping for like a .914, .917 maybe. But of course, my goalies never play well in this game. Now for the entire NHL, Matthews is going to dominate, 77 goals, 120 points, followed by Mitch Marner, who had 102, Nylander 100, Jack Hughes had 94, Draisaitl 93. Mitch Marner was very good, as well as Pasta and Pettersson on the goal side. Nobody was even close. Shorzy came in second with 52. Rantanen only had 46. Pasta 46, and Jack Hughes 44. Now for the defensemen, the Quinn Hughes from Vancouver is going to lead with 87 points on the season. Cale Makar had 83. Karlsson 74. And now for goalies, Markstrom will have the most wins at 46. And for the most shutouts, it will also go to Jacob Markstrom with 8 on the season. He's most definitely going to win the Vezina Vezina trophy, as we are going to face the Vegas LTIR Cheaters in round number 1, hopefully making it back to the finals. 2 playoff runs in a row were very disappointing, and I mean, this team is good enough to pretty much win the cup every single season. Now, honestly, this is getting very embarrassing. We're going to lose to Dallas in 6 games. The same Dallas that we... Now, honestly, this is getting very embarrassing. We lost to the Stars in 6 games in the second round. The same Dallas Stars that we swept 2 years ago, as they go on and win the Stanley Cup, beating Tampa Bay. We are pretty much going to have to devote this final season of the video to winning the Stanley Cup, as we only have 1 so far. Now, in the playoffs, we had 3 guys put up 11 points. Draisaitl, Tkachuk, and Thompson. Mitch Marner also had 10. Nugent Hopkins had 9. Quinn Hughes 8. Patrick Kane 8. Matthews is going to take home Ted Lindsay, Maurice Richard, Art Ross Hart Trophy. The Norris will go to Roman Josi of the Loveland All-Stars, as Tyler Seguin is going to somehow win the Conn Smythe, Igor the Vezina, and the Selke again to Barkov, as for some reason we are just not producing in the playoffs. After winning it in the very first season, we just have fallen off a cliff and have not been able to even reach the Stanley Cup Finals again in this video. Now, finally, at the end of the final season, we are obviously going to be the best team, going 57, 15, and 10, 124 points. And nobody was even close, but we all know that the regular season basically means nothing for this team, as we have been very successful there and not very successful in the postseason. The Carolina Hurricanes would win 52 games, coming in second place, followed by Tampa Bay. Detroit was up there, as well as the Dallas Stars, who beat us last season, so I am looking for our revenge. At the bottom of the NHL, we have Nashville, Washington, the Islanders, and San Jose. Jack Hughes is going to have a very good season, 40 goals, 107 points, followed by Draisaitl, who had 104. Mitch Marner had 90, Tkachuk 82, Quinn Hughes 73, and Tage Thompson 64 and 34 goals. Shout out Jack Hughes and Draisaitl, 40 goals each. I mean, Draisaitl almost had 50 at 48. And let's see, anybody on our team was a minus. Vince Dunn -3, Keandre Miller -2, and Lindholm -2 as well. Matt Rempe was a 0 even and 123 penalty minutes. Also 7 goals, which I mean is probably going to be a career high for him in the NHL. Maybe he's the reason that we are holding back in the playoffs. Jake Ottinger for the season would go 48, 12, and 10, 7 shutouts, and a very low save percentage, despite the fact that he did have 7 games where he did not allow a single goal, which I mean, it's kind of concerning heading into the postseason with a guy who's rocking a .903 save percentage. Also a 92 overall franchise goalie who cannot simulate well. Jack Hughes will end up leading the entire league in scoring with 107 points, followed by Draisaitl, who had 104. Jack Eichel had 97. Nikita Kucherov was up there. Matthews took a slight step back. Pasternak at 94. Robo 92. And on the goal side, Shorzy is going to lead with 59 tucks on the season, followed by Matthews, who had 56. Draisaitl 48. Pasternak 46 as well. Robo had 45. Jack Hughes had a good season. Sam Reinhart, who, I mean, he scored over 50 in real life, only had 40 and 69 on the season. Now for defensemen, Erik Karlsson is going to lead with 77 on the season. Our Quinn Hughes would have 13 goals and 73 points. Jake Ottinger is going to lead in wins with 48, followed by Ville Husso, who had 44, and Igor, who had 42. And for shutouts, Jake Ottinger is also going to have the most in the NHL at 7. And now the time has come. There is 0 excuses. We have 1 playoff run to take home the Stanley Cup to prove that we are not an absolute utter failure here in NHL 24. We're up against St. Louis in the first round. We should be able to beat them, and then we probably are going to have to go through Dallas and maybe even Colorado in the conference finals. So we ended up sweeping the St. Louis Blues in round number 1 just like we should, and now we have the Winnipeg Jets, who beat us a few years ago in the playoffs. So we got to get a revenge, get through them, and then we either have Edmonton or Vancouver in the conference finals. All right, so here we are in the third period, down by 2 in Game 7 up against the Winnipeg Jets. We have full pressure. Winnipeg has a power play, though. Scheifele trying to keep our season alive and the video alive, honestly, because we've been very disappointing. But the Loveland All-Stars have 6 minutes to go. Not a lot of time left to work with, honestly. Matthew Barzal, Crosby, Sid the Kid, and Hellebuck makes the great save. We honestly just need to come back here, force overtime, and then win Game 7 in overtime. It's not that hard, right? It's pretty easy to do when you think about it. But can the All-Stars do it, or will we only end up winning 1 Stanley Cup in the entire video? I am going to shorten the bench, have coach mode on. Josh Morrissey over to Quinn Hughes. Okay, Quinn Hughes, what are you doing, brother? Toffoli's going to skate it out. 4:10 remaining in the third period. Shot on net doesn't get go. Perfetti Great save by Otter. And there we go. We're headed to the power play, baby. Big power play with 3:33 to work in the third period. We need to score. Like, literally have to score on this power play if we want our season to continue. Or the Winnipeg Jets are going to beat us yet again, and the only Stanley Cup we're going to win is in the first season where your team is more favored than any other season that you simulate. Okay, they're going to dump it down. 3:05 remaining in the third to go. Here we go. Josh Morrissey moves it up to Matthew Tkachuk. Tkachuk, baby. Hughes, Jack, doesn't even get a shot off. That is typical EA Sports. Computer AI, a dull moment. Never a dull moment, actually, when I'm watching the games, considering it's like watching paint dry. But okay, Hughes going to make an unnecessary deke. Draisaitl in the middle. Hughes, rebound. And Tkachuk couldn't get it. Pull the goalie. We're going to pull the goalie. 47 seconds to go. There we go. Morrissey. Great save by Hellebuck. You know, boys, full pressure. Full pressure. Come on. We got an empty net. Force him. Jump up on him. Can somebody get him? Barron misses the net. We literally have an empty net and we're not forechecking. I have no idea why. Thompson coming in. Tage, shoot it on net, Tage, please. Somebody. Marner. Mitchell Marner, can you be the hero? No! And it looks like the Loveland All-Stars are going to lose to the Winnipeg Jets. We have one more face-off to go, unfortunately. And unfortunately, the Winnipeg Jets are going to beat the Loveland All-Stars in the second round in Game 7, as we were probably one of the most disappointing teams I have ever seen in the simulation. I mean, one Stanley Cup in 5 years for a roster that is this goddamn good? I mean, we have high overall players. Draisaitl, Hughes, the other Hughes brother, Tkachuk, I mean, Tage Thompson, a pretty decent overall Patrick Kane, and we have two great goalies in Jake Ottinger and Jeremy effing Swayman, and we get one Stanley Cup. Embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing. And the Florida Panthers would dominate Winnipeg in the finals in 5 games. That's what you get, Jets, for destroying my Stanley Cup hopes pretty much every season, at least 2 of them. Jack Hughes is going to take home the Ted Lindsay, Art Ross, and Hart Trophy, while the Maurice Richard will go to Shoresy. This honestly just makes me more mad, and Quinn Hughes is going to win the Norris too. We had all this talent and could only win one Stanley Cup. Absolutely pathetic. Matthew Tkachuk's going to take home the Conn Smythe, Connor Hellebuck, the Vezina, and the Selke again, all 5 seasons, to Alexander Barkov. And that is going to do it for this video, boys. Unfortunately, we were very disappointing with the Loveland All-Stars, only winning one Stanley Cup literally in the first season. After that, we were basically losers. If you guys did enjoy the video, make sure you give it some love. Let me know in the comments what you guys would like to see next. Thank you all for watching, and until next time, don't be silly. Wrap your willy.